All right, guys, we're back. April show. It's been a while, but we're excited to get started. The Pep Man's here with producer Brandon and the Engine making his first off-season appearance. He's still around. Kenneth the Clamrock. We're going to run the intro. We'll be right back, and we'll kind of talk about what we've been doing since we've been gone for a month or longer in some cases.
This is Football Focus Weekly with CFI, Charlotte Football Insiders.
It will soon be season 5 of Football Focus Weekly. There is a new intro coming here in the next couple months, but in the off season we keep it real to season 4. So once again, welcome to Football Focus Weekly. With producer Brandon and the Engine Kenneth McClamrock. Let's go to Kenneth first. Kenneth, what have you been up to? We ain't seen you in 2023 yet.
Man, let me tell you, Pat. So, my boys will be 10 next month. Just here in a couple of weeks. Their entire lives, they've been around sports. They love sports. I've always had one rule with them in sports. You can play any sport you want to play except baseball. I do not allow my children to play baseball. Way too much involvement, way too much small details. I did not want to teach that. And about 3 months ago, they said, Daddy, we want to play baseball this year. And I said, boys, y'all know my rules. There is no baseball to be played. We're a couple weeks into baseball season. We are 0-1 as a team. We've had a game rained out. We've had 2 practices rained out. But we are playing baseball. So I am constantly looking for balls in woods. I'm constantly trying to fill up my 5-gallon bucket. And we are constantly hitting balls off of tees, hitting balls in the yard, messing up my grass. We're going to the park, getting dirty. My car looks like a freaking infield right now. But it's baseball season, Pep.
You don't sound too happy about that. I had a short-lived baseball career. I was not a baseball player. My father was a big baseball guy, but he tried his hardest to get me into it, and I was kind of like Cecil Fielder, man. It was all or nothing, and there was a lot of nothing.
My grandfather was a professional baseball player. I was named for him. He died way before I was born, but yeah, baseball, man, just not what I was trying to play with my boys. But here we are, and But we're trying to get better at it. When you're almost 10 and you're playing baseball for the first time, and these little jokers have been playing since they were 4, it's a lot of years to catch up on. So we're trying to play catch up.
Well, shout out to the McLean Rock boys. I know y'all probably watching on YouTube, and we'll see if you guys comment tonight. Producer, it's good to see you, man. What you been up to?
Mostly just sticking with my usual. Kind of relaxing until the season kicks off. Working. You gotta pay the bills. Going to the gym, hitting some good weights, come home and play some good video games, and then wake up and do it all over again. So just repeat the process, getting some good relaxed time. But I'm glad to be here and just anxious for the season to start when it gets there.
As I said in March, the life of a single man is beautiful. Very beautiful. All right, so we got some people watching. Nice, we have a nice little group here tonight. Jason Bass, good to see you, sir. Always appreciate it, man. Aiden Huntley, the Kings of Charlotte. Oh, okay.
That could be the first album.
Thank you, Aiden. I appreciate that. All right, and of course, the chat administrator is here. The best chat administrator in the Southeast, never misses a show. And he also has a baseball story for you, Kenneth. His baseball career was non-existent. 2 hits in 4 years.
Pep, so I was at Concord High School, known for awful baseball. We were awful. When I was in school, my junior year, we were 1-24. The only victory came in the first game of a doubleheader against a team that was in Sports Illustrated only a couple weeks earlier for the longest losing streak in the nation. Notice I said we won the first game of that doubleheader. And then my senior year, we really picked it up, and we went an amazing 3-21.
Tripled your win. Tripled your win.
That's right. I mean, we were awesome.
Wow. Gracious. Terrence Loss, what's up, man? Pep, your backdrop favoring First Take. Well, I mean, we're trying over here. We're trying. We did upgrade the TV. We got a, new fancy microphone that was a gift. We're stepping up our game, man. It's about to be season 5, man. We got to come different.
Well, it's just you, Pep. You the only one to step up your game.
It's a process, man. It's a process. Damian Jackson says he's a baseball guy. Okay. Well, come help this group because we are baseball challenge, man. All right, so let's get into some topics because we got a lot to talk about, man. First thing on the docket tonight is the HBCU Carolina Showcase. We are up to 115 kids registered, which is good, but I'm going to go solo for a second. But this showcase is $25, guys. I want to stress this. This is $25. We will never have a camp this low of a cost ever again, I promise you. We're doing it at Harding. We're going to the heart of Charlotte. It's about as central as you can get in the city. It's a grass field. I'm taking a lot of chances here, and I'll tell you right now, we're gonna maybe break even on this thing. So this one is really for the kids. I'm a Harding graduate from night class in 1999. I wanted to do a camp there. I wanted to do a low-cost camp as possible. That's why, we're doing it. To give kids a chance that may not been able to afford our other camps, an opportunity to come to a camp with college coaches. Tomorrow, April 6th, we will release the flyer because people have been asking. They've been asking. We will release the flyer tomorrow of the schools that are committed to come to the HBCU Carolina Showcase. This year, we got a lot of really cool partnerships. I haven't really talked about it, but I'll talk about it tonight. This year, if you haven't noticed, I work for Prep Red Zone, which is a great company. They give us a lot of freedom as far as exposing kids and getting out on a national platform. Kids in this camp will get that exposure. We did the same thing for the Winter Showcase. The top performers all got wrote about individually on Prep Red Zone. We'll do the same thing for the HBCU Carolina Showcase. We have a platform. Obviously, we did a show last year after the showcase that featured those top performers getting exclusive interviews on our platform, and then those interviews were distributed out across all of our social media channels. The same thing will happen this year. We have a partnership not only with Prep Red Zone, but Prep Red Zone has a partnership with a company called Zcroot. That company is a national database that colleges across the nation subscribe to for demographic information, and then our findings and our analysis of kids across all of Prep Red Zone. And Prep Red Zone is across the United States. So it's a huge database, and colleges can go in there, and if they want to find all the 6'2" DBs that weigh 200 pounds that run, say, a 4.7, for example, we put that, or Prep Red Zone puts that information in, and then Zcroot takes that information and puts it in a database, and it goes out all over the nation. Every kid in this HBCU Carolina Showcase will have that information shared through that platform. So it's a lot of advantages of coming to this camp that I haven't really shared with everyone, but I'm putting it out there tonight. Please make sure you share this opportunity with kids all across the Charlotte metro area. It's on a Thursday because we wanted to stay away from the weekends because we know 7-on-7 is going on. We know spring sports are going on. And basically we tried to pick Thursday because I thought that was the day that there wasn't going to be a lot of games going on. I know there's maybe a track meet or two going on in the area. But for this opportunity, I think it's worth it. If you decide to, skip it or come after, you participate. It starts at 6:00. Registration opens at 5:00 at Harding. We'll have, the concession stand will be open if you want to come watch. They'll be selling food, for that, and it'll go till about 9:00. So you can get home at a decent time, for the next day, because I think the next day is a school day for some kids. I think it may be spring break for some other kids, but really, really great opportunity, man. And we're gonna have multiple schools out in attendance. And if you don't know this about CFI by now, we are about our word. We are going to promote kids. We're going to promote the heck out of you. We'll have media there. They'll be doing videos and pictures like we always do. And it's really a great opportunity. We did it last year at Mallard Creek. It was huge. It was the biggest camp we ever did with over 300 kids. We probably won't have that many this year by design, to be honest with you, because we want to keep this opportunity manageable, and keep it kind of intimate, and make sure everyone in the attendance gets a fair shot to be evaluated, especially with it being one session. It's not two sessions because we're doing it at night. But yeah. So if you have questions, feel free to reach out to me, and we make sure we get them answered for you. Kenneth, is there anything else you want to add about HBCU this year?
Yeah, once again, Pat, $25, man. I just went to Chick-fil-A and I spent almost $25 by myself. $25 for an opportunity to be seen in front of coaches. There's not a better deal out there. Remember, CFI is the original. Other camps may try to be like us, but they're trying to be like us. Just remember that.
On that note, we have seen several, and I mean several, and if you are in the high school football community, there are several copycat camps out there. Don't be fooled. Really look at where you're putting your money and where you're putting your trust. Okay? Proven results, low cost with us every time. We don't run a camp that's over $100 unless it's that last minute deal where we got to try to squeeze somebody in. Okay? We got college coaches there. We have verified connections. There are multiple kids that have shouted us out on social media after committing to schools when they met their contacts at our showcases. Period. Just be careful. I stress it. be careful for copycats, okay, because they're out there. And, you know, if you need advice on where to go, please feel free to reach out, because we'll be honest with you. And I also want to salute, before we get on to the next topic, I want to salute the parents and players that have reached out and DM with questions about, you know, multiple topics, not only the showcases, but another topic we're going to talk about is moving schools. We're going to talk about recruiting. And you have reached out with those questions and been very candid and very honest, and I definitely appreciate that. I know, Ken, if you get the same thing too. Yeah. Let's see, a couple comments here. Let's see, Lanisha Dowd. Thank you for being registered at the camp. I do remember seeing your name come across, so we appreciate the support. And I know your son's going to go out there and have a good time and, you know, be evaluated fairly. That's what we're about. That is what we're about. Let's see. Trayvon Gaither is sharing that Emory and Henry's going to have a camp at Community School Davidson for $40. Okay. They have come to our camps before. We know a couple of their coaches, so there's another opportunity for you right there. Chat administrator, we're going to get to that. That's later on in the show, but we definitely got some stuff to say about that as well. That came out right before tonight's show started, so we'll talk about it. Okay, our next topic here, we're going to talk about, where are we here? Oh, yeah. 7-on-7. We're in the middle of 7-on-7 season. I feel like we talk about this every year. 7-on-7 continues to grow. We continue to see good things come out of it, and unfortunately, bad things come out of it every year. So let's talk about it. First of all, Kenneth, what are the benefits of 7-on-7, man, in the off season?
You know, Pep, just this afternoon, I ran into a dad of a kid I was driving who actually played football with my brother all the way up. He was an extremely good football player. And we were talking about the differences between when we played a long time ago and kids today. And I said, you know, the big difference is the off season is so much more important today than it was 20 or 25 years ago. And part of that off season, sometimes that's small group trainers, sometimes that's 7-on-7, of course, weight training and all those types of things, speed development. But 7-on-7 is the latest trend. And, you know, Pep, I'm going to be honest with you, man. I'm starting to really like it. I mean, I like the idea of kids competing. I like the idea of kids getting better. I like the idea of kids not running the streets or being at home on, you know, doing whatever they're doing when their parents are not at the house. If a 7-on-7 team is being ran correctly, if the coaches are coaching them up, if the coaches are coaching up technique, if the coaches are coaching up eye discipline, if the coaches are coaching up their steps, if coaches are doing the things correctly to make them a better football player, I'm all about 7-on-7. I think that it can be extremely beneficial. It's not real football. It will never be real football, but it can do great things for quarterbacks. It can do great things for wide receivers. Obviously, the competitive nature of it, it can be a really, really, really positive thing for high school players.
You know, I agree with you. And the thing that I want to stress here is I really love 7-on-7 club teams that are with their school. I love that because you get the most benefit out of it. You're practicing with your players that you're going to go into the season with, running your schemes and getting that down all the time. I remember a couple years ago, I remember talking with a couple of head coaches, notable head coaches, and they were saying that 7-on-7 is a problem because, number one, they don't like someone else teaching their quarterbacks. They like to teach their quarterbacks the way they want to read things, their fundamentals and techniques, and they didn't want someone else getting in his ear and then teaching them something different or counter to what they're doing in their program. And I thought that makes a lot of sense because, you know, it's a very intricate position. It's a very intricate position, and, you know, you need to learn, you know, the techniques the way you want them to learn them. Another problem, obviously, and we all know about it, is, you know, club teams that are pulling kids from different schools, and then they're being led by coaches that coach at a certain school, and then trying to sway kids to play for said school. We know that's a problem. We know it continues to happen. It's happening this year because I've been told about it by several people, players, and parents, and coaches at that. And I don't know what we need to do to get some type of regulation behind it. It's hard to do when it's a club sport and then, you got outside organizations running it. So, do you think anything like that will come down the line at some point?
Pat, 7-on-7 right now is AAU football.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it is. It's travel football for high school kids. I 100% agree that if I'm a quarterback, it makes no sense for me to go and throw to other wide receivers. If I'm a quarterback, I want to encourage my receivers to come out and play with me so we can continue to build that chemistry. We can continue to fix things and correct things even before spring ball gets here. Pep, going back to other coaches coaching my kids, I'm going to be honest with you. 10 years ago, that was my belief. Like, why would I want some other coach coaching my kids? But as I've kind of been out of the game and 100% transparency, now that I'm training kids on the side myself, I've realized the importance because what I can do in a 80-minute session with a kid on a Sunday afternoon is infinitely more than what his position coach can do with him in the spring or summertime when in a team setting. It's just not the same. Now, that being said, every kid that I'm working with, I have spoken with almost all of their head coaches. Almost all their head coaches send me their playbooks when spring ball happens. I'm going to say, hey, on this read, on this concept, what is your quarterback read progression? Who is he reading? So that I can teach him the same language. I think that's important. It's important for the club team to have a relationship with the head coach. I also think that the state and some counties may need to be a little bit more lenient on allowing high school coaches to be a part of these things as well. Head coaches to be a part of this thing. There's no reason why there can't be a Hardin University High School 7-on-7 team. There's no reason why there can't be a Mallard Creek that's being ran by Mallard Creek people or Hardin people. There's no reason for that. The state is setting its members, the programs, up for potential failure by not allowing those things. And just take, for example, Central Cabarrus. Obviously, they were undefeated, 3A state champions, the best team in the state. They get invited to Atlanta. I said it. It's true. They got invited to the Throne tournament.
Yeah.
Jim Baker, their head coach, was not allowed to be there. Their assistant coaches were not allowed to be there. They weren't allowed to have Central across their chest. They had to wear baby blue uniforms and call themselves the NC Vikings because the NCHSAA does not allow post-season play, out-of-season play by its membership schools. And I think that is what we need to look at. That's what needs to change so that we can make this more above standard for everyone.
Go ahead, producer. You got some thoughts on 7-on-7?
I just, I kind of echo you guys' sentiment. I think it would be good if you could put some, some official organization behind it. Like you said, I don't see what it's hurting to let their own coaches be there. It's just additional instruction, and I'm all for anything that, like Ken said earlier, something to just keep kids occupied, keep them off the streets and distracted, because that gets coaches nervous. Kids getting distracted and getting in trouble during the off season, and that's one more thing that can keep them occupied. Why not? And it's not like, it would cost way less than real football. So I think
that's true.
You're right. It would be great to have some organization behind that. So I think hopefully in the near future, that can be the case. So I hope that happens.
Here's a thought, and no one's brought this up, and I'm very surprised, but CMS has put together club sports for women's flag football. I would love to see the same thing done for men in the spring. That, I think, would be a great solution.
And it's a Title IX issue too, Pep. I bet if someone actually brought it with the law, They could argue for that.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think, the door's open. They're already doing it for females. I think it should be offered for males. And then we've got a spring season that kind of, gets a little more training. It's a lot more organized. You can have your coaches involved. And the framework's already there. We're already doing it for females. So it may cut into some track, but it's a club sport. So I think there'd be a way for coaches to work around that.
Female 7-on-7 cuts into female softball, female soccer.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think that's something that, maybe may get some traction now. It's worth looking at. It's worth looking at least. All right, so I'll put you back in the background for a minute, guys. We're gonna bring on a special guest we've had on the show before. Oh, well, I'll bring you back in a minute, Kev. He is a really, really good coach who's done some work in the NFL through the internship program. He's been a really good college coach at a couple different schools. And he's going to join us tonight, and his name is Dwan Lucky, and we're going to bring him on the show right now. Coach.
How you doing?
Man, I'm doing great, man. It's good to hear from you again, man. For those that may not know you, man, what are you up to now? I know you moved on to a different school now.
Yeah. So it's just the college coaching world. Last December, my head coach decided he wanted to join the University of Colorado with Deion Sanders, with Coach Prime, and it was a great opportunity for him, which leaves guys like myself, searching, if you don't get kept on to the new staff or not. Actually, 2 days after he decided to go to Colorado, I actually was offered the offensive coordinating job at Mississippi Delta Community College. I accepted that for about a month, and then I decided it was best for me and to move closer. And now I'm the running back coach at the University of the Cumberlands here in Williamsburg, Kentucky. So it's a good opportunity, a great NAIA school. A winning program, very successful. Got a successful head coach and coach Shane Housekeeper, who came over from Georgetown. So this is his second year of the program. So we definitely looking to get into the North Carolina recruiting area market as much as possible.
Okay.
And, hopefully I'll be able to lead the way with doing that.
Yeah, so that's why you're here tonight, man. Wanting to get in North Carolina recruiting. We're going to talk about a little bit about recruiting. So first of all, there's a lot of kids out here, a lot of them coming to our showcase that want to get recruited by coaches such as yourself, man. How does a kid stand out, first of all, to make that first impression by getting noticed by a coach like yourself?
The first thing I would tell a kid, you need to get on Twitter. I've always said this, Twitter is really the biggest, marketing tool for yourself. Market yourself as a brand. Twitter is everything right now. The biggest thing, too, is get to these camps. I know we will have a camp up here in Williamsburg, Kentucky, May 25th. So it'll be a good opportunity for you guys to come up. We'll have national preps help hosting the camp. So it'll be a great opportunity for kids to be evaluated. And also, if you can't go to a smaller camp, go to some of these mega camps. I think it'll be a good opportunity for kids to be seen because there's so many colleges that'll be there. But the biggest thing in the recruiting nowadays is Twitter is big. Now, I want you to know it's not like it was in the past with the transfer portal. The transfer portal has taken over everything. It's even affected the way JUCO recruiting. I know when I was at Mississippi Valley, we decided that we should just concentrate on Mississippi JCs and use that as a farm system and, try to get the best players we could. And we got some players that we normally wouldn't have got or whatnot if it wasn't for the transfer portal, just focusing on the JCs. So it's no right or wrong way of how to look at recruiting because it's everything is such in a rut right now with the transfer portal and in a good way, you know. For you high school kids, I tell you, just get on Twitter, keep a clean profile, make sure that you're hitting up all these coaches. And I mean, go out and I tell you this now they just go visit a school, you know. I mean, sometimes sending the email ain't enough. Send an email that you're coming to a school and take a visit to the school you want to go to.
Yeah, that's really, really good advice, man. That's one of the things we talk about at the showcase all the time. Is making sure you have a Twitter profile so coaches can, find you. And that's built into our database of all the information we get, so they have all that. So being at an NAIA school, what's some of the things that are important to NAIA recruiting specifically?
So, I'm still learning the layers of the land. I'm gonna tell you this one thing. Hey guys, if you got a 2.3 GPA overall, you can come to an NAIA school.
There you
It's
go.
not like the NCAA or whatnot. It's like, guys, if you come to an NAIA school, you come to get an education. I promise you this. Like, I showed some people my office. The infrastructure at this school is probably better than like most schools that you would go to D2 and some FCS. You know, um, our approach, we get them to campus, they're gonna be blown away. I promise you, if you just take the trip, to Williamsburg, Kentucky, you will be blown away of how beautiful this campus is. Now, the question that I did ask, I said, why is it not a, school that's not a, Division II school? Because they have the money, like they pay their coaches well. They have fully funded scholarships for all the sports that they got. I mean,
Okay.
like the infrastructure here is so well, and I think it was just a matter, when I asked that question, they wanted to be able to dominate where they at, and they have
Okay.
done a good job of dominating the NAIA, and NAIA ball is not bad. Our offensive line coach came from Elon, Coach Orbit, Will Orbit, who used to be the former head coach at East Rowan. He's been a lot of different places, and he does a great job. Also, Adam Morris, who's the OC here, who was at Campbell University for a long time with Mike Minner, and he's doing an amazing job in his second year. And so this is like I think I told Kenneth, I said this is probably one of the best kept secrets in all of like this side of the country. This school right here,
wow. Yeah.
it's so beautiful. It's located right here, right outside of Western North Carolina. You're hours from Knoxville, Tennessee. You're an hour from Lexington, Kentucky, and also like, you're an hour 30 minutes from like Cincinnati. So it's like you're right in a good little triangle. But it's a beautiful campus. If you like the mountains in North Carolina, like Asheville, like you would love being in Williamsburg, Kentucky. I promise you, it's like one of the best, beautiful campus that you will see. And the infrastructure, I promise you, it's top tier. Top
Okay.
tier.
Awesome, man. All right. So let me bring on a guy that you mentioned and we all know and love, the Engine, and he may have a question or a comment or two for you.
Pep, I'm going to tell you how excited I am right now that Coach Lucky's on here because I've been worried sickless over this dude. 10 days ago, 11 days ago, this dude was supposed to be at my house at 9 p.m., and I have not seen him since. I've been worried. I put out posters. What's going on with Coach Lucky? Has anybody seen Coach Lucky? So, Coach Lucky, I'm glad you're okay, man. How you been?
I'm gonna tell you this. Kenneth, listen, I apologize. Listen, I apologize. I will make sure when I make the trip this weekend after our scrimmage, you listen, let's do lunch. I will pay for it.
Whoa! I'll bet. I
I
already
will
know.
pay for it. Yeah, it feels good to have money in my pockets, right?
You know I'm gonna be out of town this weekend, don't you? No,
Oh,
I told you I was gonna be out of town this weekend. I know you know
yeah.
that. So, Coach Lucky, man, tell me this. You keep bringing up these letters, man. NAIA. What the heck does that mean, man? What is the difference? You said grades. You can get kids in with lower GPAs, but NAIA, man, you guys offer Scott. Like we don't have NAIAs. We got one NAIA in North Carolina. What does that mean,
I
man?
tell you this, and I like one of the biggest things is I talked to Coach Housekeeper and the head coach and talked to the AD. Coach Housekeeper wanted me to hear it from the AD voice. And every new hire that come in, you know, they want to tell parents, and this is their recruiting philosophy. How do we keep you from taking out a loan? We have the money, and why, like, how do I help you? Like, most D2 schools they're packaging and stuff like that. Yeah, we have package deal, but it ain't got no loans in them. It ties in with academic money. I give you one even better. Most schools was like using the COVID money to pay bills or lights. Man, they use that money to give it to the students, to give them extra money. And that was one of the things that, the AD took pride and the president took pride in, to talk about like how well off the school is. It's one of the second largest schools in the state of Kentucky because they have a large online process. A lot of kids on our team are online students, and so it's a great opportunity for kids. But again, as scholarships go, listen, we can give scholarships. We can package you the way that you want to be, and also keep you guys from getting the loans that you want. And hopefully, the biggest thing is hopefully that North Carolina understands, like, hey, it's okay to leave the state to come to Williamsburg, Kentucky.
Yeah, that's what's up, man. Appreciate you, Coach.
Yes.
Hey, Coach, man, we appreciate the time. Always hey, you can come down to the HBCU Showcase, man. Come on down. We got some.
For sure. What day is it?
April 20th.
April 20th. You know what? Is that I think
Thursday.
That's the day of our spring. It's the day of our spring game. We have a Thursday night spring game.
Oh, man.
So that's Yes. So here, the kids go to school Monday through Thursday. Friday, they're off.
Oh, okay.
It's good. It's a good setup. Hey, guys, I'm just saying. Hey, I couldn't ask for anything better. I could be home when I want. Like right at the practice, I can go home. But I'm a workaholic, so
yeah.
I mean, like it's a great setup. Monday through Thursday. Kids, I'm telling you, this is a great opportunity to come to school, get a good quality education. They got everything that you want. You got the things you can go to UNC Charlotte and get. That's what they got on this campus. It's pretty neat.
Well, what we'll do is we'll send, our prospect information to you, and then, you see some guys, just let us know. Well, you know how we do things.
Yes.
I can't give away all the secrets on here. All right. Well, Coach, I appreciate.
Y'all got double HBCU Showcase under Pep Man's name, the CFI. Yes, people stealing ideas.
Well, we talked about that earlier. There are some copycats going on, but I've had to put the original on it.
That's wild.
Because people are asking questions. Are you having 3 showcases? I said no, we're not. But some other people are trying to market, the best way they feel, they need to market. So whatever.
They got to understand where to go to. All right. And, at the end of the day, hey, people saw success and they try to mimic it. At the end of the day, you got to understand, be true to who you are. And, why you're doing it and doing it for the right reason and why it was started. And I think the response would be the response at the end of the day. Some people are in this thing for money. You guys are in here to give people a quality chance to get an education. And
Yeah.
that's what when we first even talked about that camp and what it was going to be like. It was giving kids a quality education, giving them an opportunity to be seen, giving HBCU coaches a chance to, come to Charlotte and 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 to see how beautiful the city is, and also bridge a gap between the high school coaches. I want people to not forget that. That's what it was built on. It was about the
Right.
relationship between the high school coaches and the HBCUs and whatnot. Because if you see, it is growing, and HBC love is growing. I mean, guys, you think about it, the defending national champions, they took the kid out of Miller Creek who was at the showcase. You know, come
Yep.
on now.
Yep.
Defending national, HBCU national championship. Some players at the Charlotte area. So again,
We got some more exciting news about those national champs too, real soon. Real soon. Very excited about that.
So, so again, I mean, at the end of the day, man, what you guys are doing and the platform that you're building, man, don't let somebody steal your joy for trying to do what they think.
Oh no, never that, Coach. It's just education. That's all it is.
Because you know why you're doing it, and I know why this camp was in the mix, and I pray that God continue to shine a light on the student athletes of Mecklenburg County, Cabarrus County, and that those kids make sure that they get to that camp, because the price of admission is down for the camp this year too, I believe.
Oh yeah.
Oh
yeah. And we won't go back there again, but
but
the coach, man.
Listen, I'm excited.
Absolutely.
I'm excited for you guys.
Appreciate it, man. We appreciate you coming on tonight, man. We'll catch up real soon.
Definitely.
Thanks, Coach. That was Coach. I didn't know y'all had beef, man. What was that?
I mean, I was trying to watch a show on Netflix. I was like, hey, lunch gonna be here in like 10 minutes, 30 minutes later, an hour later, 2 hours later. I put up signs. Like I was I knew.
Oh man. So I mean, we talk about recruiting tips and tricks, on and off for it seems like for about every 3 shows we do during the season. But this year especially, I've had more DMs and questions about where should I go to school? What camp should I go to? Is this legitimate? A lot of the stuff Coach Lucky touched on, going to camps, is important, but going to the right camps is important too. And then I talked with a couple parents who were asking about summer and how many camps they should go to. And the important thing is you don't want to go to every camp possible because you're not going to be at your best. And it's something we've talked about before. If you're going to 3 camps in a week, you gotta give your body a chance to recover. You can't perform at peak optimum performance multiple times in a week. That's why we play one game of football a week as a high school athlete. You have usually one, maybe 2 track meets in a week, 1 or 2 baseball games a week. Your camp schedule should reflect what you do throughout the season. Ken, if you want to add anything on that?
I mean, Pep, I was getting on tonight. I had an athletic director call me up and asked me the same exact question, man. How should my football players be addressing camps in the summertime? Does it matter what camp they go to? Just a few days ago, a kid that I work with at Rock Solid Training, his dad asked me, Coach, where does my son need to be going to camps this summer? And straight up, I said, not Alabama, not Clemson.
Right.
If you're a rising freshman, if you're a rising sophomore, you know what? You go to any camp you want to go to. If your family has the financial means to send you to a camp to go take your picture with Dabo Swinney, go get your picture taken with Dabo Swinney. If you want to go to Chapel Hill and shake Matt Brown's hand and buy a whole bunch of Carolina Tar Heels merchandise, you go do it. But by the time you're entering your junior season, and especially your senior season, you, your parents, and your head football coach need to sit down and have a serious conversation. What potential does my son have? What division do you see him playing at? Is he a Division II kid? Is he an FCS kid? Is he a Group of 5 kid? Is he a Power 5 kid? Is he a non-scholarship kid? And then now that we've discussed that, what camp should he go to? If he's a rising junior, it could be a camp that relates to where he is. That also could be a camp that relates to the type of offense that they run or the type of defense that they run. But once you hit that senior season, it's time to buckle down. You need to ask out girls that you have realistic chances of going to the prom with. If you are the knucklehead who sits in the back row who can't even look a girl in her eyes, you don't need to be trying to DM the prom queen asking her for a date. Like, it's not going to happen. You need to find realistic schools that you can play at. But you need to have that honest conversation with your coach, and you need to be prepared that that guy ain't going to tell you what you want to hear, mom and dad.
Amen. Amen, man. I never, tried to go for the prom queen myself. But that's a great reference right there. And by the way,
the prom queen, for the record, Pat.
What's that?
My wife is hotter than the prom queen. She was above the prom. The prom queen wanted to be like my wife.
Oh. Okay. I'm sure that'll pay off later on. All right. Jason Bass. Professor preaching past the offering. Hey, man. It's been a lot of free game here throughout the years, and you can choose to use it or you can choose to ignore it. So we'll cut that up. We'll get it out there. Producer, you want to throw anything on recruiting on the last word here?
Again, just don't overdo it. I mean, we've seen it. We've seen kids just kind of really make it to every single camp that they can possibly fit in, and like you said, going to a few camps and performing it in a peak fashion is much better than just getting burnt out. Because you go to a camp and you're burnt out and underperforming, you might as well not even be there, because now you're getting bad times in the books and stuff. So just be wise, listen to the advice listen to the advice of people that have nothing to gain from you going to said camp. That's the good thing. I think that's big, because someone in your inbox just got an invoice ready to charge you. Of course he's going to say you should come because he wants your money, but those that you can trust, your mentors, your coaches, and people that don't gain by you going to 10 camps or going to said camp, those are the people you can trust. So listen to those people, and hopefully you can choose the camps that are best for you, and hopefully get advice from people that have your best interest in mind and not theirs.
One last comment, Pat, because that was incredible.
Mm-hmm.
A pulled hamstring the last week of July at your 8th summer camp is going to probably put you out for the majority of the season. That pulled hamstring in July is going to bother you for the entirety of the season. Be careful. 2-3 camps a summer. That's it. Be smart. Your body needs time to rest and recover.
Amen. Really good words, guys. There are certain camps out here that will invite you for upwards of $200 and $300 for Division III schools that it's not worth it. And I will not say the name of the camp, but they are very prominent on Facebook. And if you're in the game and you see their advertisement, you know what I'm talking about. We offer more than that for literally an eighth of the cost. Literally. Once again, do your homework. Ask questions. Really, really good stuff, guys. Really good. All right. This topic always ends up eliciting direct messages and text messages from multiple people. And we're going to spend about 8 minutes on it. And that's switching programs. We've seen it. We've seen it in the off season. We see it every off season. Why are you switching programs? And I've gotten several DM questions from players and parents about different situations. And it's not one cookie cutter answer, but we're going to talk about why should you switch programs. And I'll let producer, I'll let you go first here. Why should a kid switch programs? For what reasons?
I think they should switch if the move makes sense. If you got, a D1, a Power 5 guy playing over you, and you feel like you're just going to be overshadowed and lost in a rotation, and you think there's a program or a team out there with a scheme that makes sense that's going to give you a better opportunity, then, I'm all for it. Because at the end of the day, if you want to go play college ball, one of the things you need is film. So if you feel like you're lost in a rotation and you're on a great team, you're having fun, but you're getting 10 snaps a game, that's not going to cut it. So if it makes sense and the scheme that you're going to makes sense and there's a spot for you, then I'm all for it. I think that's why you should. However, I'm not gonna name any programs specifically. I'm not gonna name any names, but I had, a couple of years ago, one of my old coworkers, her son played high school ball in the area, and his team he was on, his school was decent. They weren't one of the elite teams in the area. They weren't one of the worst teams. They were okay, but he wasn't a starter on that team. And she said that he was going to transfer to one of the top schools. So my thing is, okay, if he's not getting on the field at the average team, then it's not likely he's going to take anyone's spot on one of the elite teams. So not to say he's a bad player, but those schools, I mean, it's they're a lot of their rosters are in place already, and he might not get on the field. So I said, he's better off if he wants. He obviously, like a lot of kids, he had aspirations of playing college ball. I said, well, he needs to be where he's going to be on the field. Mm-hmm. Backing up Power 5 guys is not going to get him, snaps. So he needs film. So in my mind, in my honest opinion, I said the move you're discussing, to me, just wasn't advantageous to him in being on the field. So some moves make sense and some don't. We know there's greed involved. There's coaches and people out there that will try to lure kids to add depth to their own roster. Is it best? Not that it's best for them. So, like I said, man, kids, be careful of those that want you to do things for their best interest and not yours. So, if it makes sense, I'm all for it, though. If you're not, especially a quarterback, if you're about to be your senior year and you're a rising senior and the starter is a sophomore, maybe you might want to think about, maybe there is a move that makes sense. If it makes sense, I think the kids, it's okay.
Very good stuff. Kenneth, what you got here?
Pep, it's such a sensitive topic, right? And there are so many variables that come into play. My thing is, if this is a decision being made between the parents and the child, if this is a decision that is not being unduly influenced by just at the school where you are moving, I'm all about it. We've talked about on this show. I'm all about going to a situation that is for your benefit. That could be academically, whatever. Like, nobody knows when the best chorus student at school A goes to school B because of their chorus program. Nobody knows about that. We know about that because it's on the front page. I think that we have to be careful, though, because this is what we know. Coaches, whether they're college coaches, whether they're high school coaches, the really good coaches are really good used car salesmen. They know how to tell you exactly what it is that you want to hear. And, when you're a coach, when you're another coach, when you're not the coach at the school where you attend, it's easy to tell you anything and everything. Your coach know what he's doing. Your coach isn't getting you recruited. Your coach isn't this. Your coach isn't that. We do this. We do that. If you come here, this will happen to you. And that's all fluff. None of that means anything. I think that it's important to look. Who is the coach? What is he saying? What is his track record shows us? Because here's the truth. If you look at a school and they've got a P5 player, but that joker's 6'4", 225 pounds, and he runs a 4.42 40, that joker's going to get offered no matter where he is.
Yep.
The coach of that school didn't get him offered. His DNA got him offered. His genetics got him offered. But if you look at a school and you see that coach is constantly putting in work and that coach is doing things the right way and he holds his kids to a high standard and his kids graduate and they go to school and they become successful in what they do and they're pretty good at football as well, then that may be a better situation for you. I mean, Pep, we've talked about this. There are coaches out there who are really, really, really good at certain things. There are coaches out there who lack at certain things. But I think that's helpful when you just hear the one side saying your coach lacks at this, and that's the only thing he ever says to him. I had a player who was a big time Division I prospect, and a college coach came by, and I left him alone in my office, and I heard what they were saying, but we were doing some other things. We were in class, and when he left, I said, "Well, what did he say?" He said, "Coach, all he talked about was why all the other schools who have offered me, I shouldn't go to them. Why they're not a good choice." He said, "Coach, he never one time told me why his school was a better choice."
Wow.
Pep, can I add something?
Yeah.
I don't mention it too much on here, but in my day job, when I'm not being the producer at night, I work in the finance world, in the investment world, and one of the underlying principles of investments is that if you're going to make an investment to a client, that new product or new investment you're making has to leave them in a better situation than what they were in prior. The same mentality needs to apply here. You're going to tell a kid that he should move, or you need to come over to me, that situation that kid's entering should be better than the one they're leaving. Not the team, not you, not you. The kid needs to be better off than where he left. And I think we, just as a community, need to adopt that same principle. The kid needs to be in a better situation than the one he's leaving, or there's no need for him to leave. And it's not just necessarily football, just football. The school, maybe there's a program one school has or something. All of it, the situation needs to be better. So I think we need to kind of keep that same mentality when we're telling kids should they leave or shouldn't they? They need to be better off than what they came from.
Absolutely. Last word on this from me, as Kenneth, put very well, it's a decision that should be made without influence between the player and the parent. And then the problem is we all know there's undue influence going on. And that's why weeks ago I made the post that I did, because you need to have someone to bounce things off of independently, without any bias in the situation, that can talk objectively about your situation. And I've had several conversations with players and parents, and sometimes both together, talking about what schools are saying to them, and then what realistically should happen. Producer, you made a good point about if you're a rising senior and you need to get on the field for film, because we know you gotta have that. Coach Lucky talked about being on Twitter. That's important. But if you're on Twitter with no film, you have no shot. I mean, period. You can't be evaluated unless you got a chance, unless you just go to a camp and then just happen to show out and you just blow up out of nowhere, and that doesn't happen very often. So you got to give yourself an opportunity to be on the field playing, ideally starting, especially if you're a rising senior. If you're a rising junior and you're in a situation where you feel like junior year is important and you need to get film out there, do what you got to do, man. But the thing I stress is talk to your head coach before you leave. Give them a chance, give them an opportunity to talk about the situation, and be open and be honest, and don't hold back. Don't tippy-toe around the situation. Tell them how you feel. Tell them what's happening. Tell them what's going on. If you are getting undue influence from somebody, they need to know that, period. Because, it's going to happen. We understand that. We know that in 2023, that's the culture, okay? But people, need to be... A lot of this stuff is being done under the table. It's being done by, a lot of the times it's non-faculty coaches. And I was a non-faculty coach for many years. But those guys will do it because in some ways, they're untouchable. They're not going to lose their job. They're not going to lose their career by doing stuff like that, like maybe a faculty coach would, or to possibly be suspended, or all those different kind of things. So there's a lot of tricks in the trade here, but the main thing is have a conversation with your head coach, like Kenneth said earlier. Be smart. Do what's best for you to get on the field and get film. And some people might say it's running from competition, but you got to be honest with yourself, man. You got to see where you are as a player. And if you're a player that's been evaluated and you're not on that level of someone you're competing against, and you want to go play somewhere, especially being a rising senior, you got to do what you got to do, man. Sometimes it's better to stay where you are, but the key is having that conversation with your current head coach and being honest with them. And, after that conversation, you and your parent or you and your player go back and talk, and then you make a decision. Jason Bass on the last comment here before the slime. Some of these coaches are petty and immature. Oh, wow. So definitely know your coach's personality as well. Well, if you've been in the game and, Jason, you've been out there, you know how the game goes. There's a lot of that going on, unfortunately, but it is what it is. And I'm sure, I think I got a couple text messages on my phone already. So we'll address those after the show. But the tradition continues. It is now that time to slime with your favorite host, not me.
Oh boy, it's been a long time, but you know what it is. It's slime time. So let's go straight to our fearless leader, Pep Man Matt Morrow. Who are you sliming on tonight?
Oh boy, do I have a slime for you. Here we go. What is going on with 485 construction on the east side of Mecklenburg County? I don't know why it has taken years to add these toll lanes in. It is ridiculous. Every day I leave my job and I get into this long line of traffic that just sits there and moves along and inches along and inches along and inches along. I don't get it, man. You would think something that's going to take our money would have been done by now, but it has been at least 8 to 10 years for this construction that's ongoing. And let me tell you something. I went to Raleigh for work I think it's been about a month ago. And you get up there and they got roads that are just wide 4 lanes, lights all over the place. They had purple lights on the road. Purple lights. How is that even possible? But they got these big wide roads, nobody on the roads, toll roads going all over the place. I got turned around and got lost. But we can't get a simple main interstate added with one daggone lane to get us somewhere efficiently. I'm tired of it, state of North Carolina. Raleigh, you're taking all our money. You put all your money up there. Your city is crap. Charlotte is where you need to put your money and your resources, and that's it.
I'm with you, Pam. Good night. Producer Brandon, who you sliming on tonight?
I'm just going to be petty. Even though I understand it, I'm still going to be petty anyway. I'm a slime one of McClam Rock's favorite spots, a.k.a. Bojangles. I went in there on Sunday, I was like, okay, I'm just going to get a simple little sandwich combo. Sandwich, seasoned fries, cool. So I asked the lady, I said, oh, can you throw a honey mustard in there for me too? Like sandwich, honey mustard, chicken. It works. Cool. But that'll be 42 cents extra. I said, really? Just for honey mustard? I said, fine, okay. Of course I'm going to get it, but just being a little petty. I get it. Everything has a cost, man. But come on, man. 42 cents? Sliming you anyway.
You know what? That's 42 cents at Bojangles. This is one of the reasons why I've always loved Bojangles. You go to a Zaxby's, and everybody knows the kickin' chicken sandwich at Zaxby's. Amazing. But you ask for an extra ranch, and it's 50 cents. 42 cents for some honey mustard. God, come on, Bojangles. As Papa Bass knows, I've had a love-hate relationship now for a long time. I mean, I've loved Bojangles. It's been the love of my life. Before there was ever a Maggie in my life, there was Bojangles, and it was beautiful. But Brandon, I'm with you, man. I have not been to Bojangles. No, never mind. Take that back. I went yesterday. Never mind. 42 cents, man. You know what, Pep? I've been here. There's so many things that's happened since I've been gone. Oh, man, I mean, I've got. Man, I'm gonna slime. I'm just gonna say the obvious, man. I'm gonna slime gas prices. Like, I don't get it. How one day gas is $3.29 a gallon, the next day gas is $3.49 a gallon, the next day gas is $3.25 a gallon, the next day it's $3.39 a gallon. Like, can we just gas ain't being bought and sold every single day. I don't understand. There was a time when I was in high school that the gas went up in increments of like 1 or 2 pennies per gallon. But it's like all I see is 10 cents per gallon increments in the gas prices. I mean, what happened to I don't get it, man. I'm just like, I can't. I drive a driver's ed car, and I still don't want to stop and put money in with the driver's ed credit card because I'm like, man, this is hurting me so much. I went to fill up. I filled up my wife's car. I filled up my little 5-gallon gas tank for the lawnmower, my little gallon tank that I mix up for my weed eater and that kind of stuff. And it was $92. I don't get it, man. Gas prices, y'all are slime, man. We got to do something about this. I don't even know.
I agree with you, man. I agree with you. But I'll tell you real quick because I forgot to talk about it because we got going on the recruiting stuff. So what Chad Administrator is talking about right here is there's a new bill, and this came out right before the show. There's a new bill that has come out in the North Carolina General Assembly that is looking to strip the NCHSAA of its authority and to limit classifications to 4. So it's Senate Bill 636. And it's got some other things in there about, restricting participation of athletes who identify as transgender. And you remember back in 2021, there was a change with the NCHSAA. They went into a memorandum of understanding with the State Board of Education. And back then we were talking about it a good bit about some of the issues with NCHSAA and, how they do things basically. So this thing goes a lot further. And, to kind of sum it up, the 4 classifications would be based on the average daily membership or ADM. If you remember around playoff time, we talked about ADM numbers. That's the average daily membership of the schools. Another key to this, it says it would assign all charter and private schools into the next highest classification than the one the school would be assigned to based on its enrollment. So basically, charter and private schools would play a class up than their ADM population. So we know that there's a vote right now for the NCHSAA to expand the classifications to at least 7, starting in 25 and 26. But if the state bill passes, that wouldn't matter because the 4 classifications will be put into state law. There's other things that go into this where basically the state superintendent would have the authority to kind of supersede anything the NCHSAA does. And there's a lot of details that go into that. So there'll be a lot more that comes out from this. But real quick, do you guys have any thoughts on this?
Pep, I think everyone who watches the show knows what my thoughts are on the North Carolina High School Athletic Association. They have failed us a lot over the years. I think that there needs to be accountability there. I don't know that Senate Bill 636 necessarily completely fixes a lot of the problems. I've never been a fan of the 7 classification system. People claim that 8 classifications, 1A, 1AA, 2A, 2AA,
The split. Yeah.
Down, 7 is pretty close to 8. I have been a fan of 6 classifications. I think that 6 solves a lot of issues, especially when you have schools that have 1,500 students difference in their ADM numbers. I don't think that the state should have a say-so in how many classifications that is. That should be voted on by the members, which would be the high schools. I would not be against charter schools or private schools playing up a classification. I think that's what a lot of athletic directors who face charter and private schools have argued over the years. That should be the penalty that's enforced on them for joining NCHSAA. I'll just say that.
Yeah. Producer, you want anything to add on that?
It's something I'm gonna, keep my eye on. I'm kind of with McLaren Rock. I feel like 6 would probably be a good number. I was never too huge of a fan of the 8, splitting. I just feel like that got to be a lot. So I feel like, 6 could kind of even things up a bit. I feel like that would be a good number. But just keep my eye on it, kind of follow it.
Yeah, so the current current vote right now, I saw on Twitter that I think it was around 176 schools have voted for it. But the key thing with this is they got to get to 324 as far as yes votes to get it passed. If a school does not vote, it's counted as a no. And I have heard that some schools have chosen not to vote instead of registering no. So there is some opposition out there, to your point, Kenneth and producer. I agree. I think 6 is the sweet spot, just based on how the math works out and everything. But, we'll see it at 176. There's some positive movement. So, I think everyone's in agreement it needs to change, and then the state bill saying it's going to be 4 classifications. I don't know where that comes from. That's very kind of, I would say, antiquated. This antiquated way of thinking. And, to chat administrator's point, more politics in sports is usually not, the way to go. So, but we'll see. We'll keep our eye on it. Things develop. We'll talk about it on the May show. If there's updates, and we'll probably see, where that goes from there. So, I'm going over time, but I haven't had a chance to do this, and I want to do it. So, best of the comments. Nikisha Ricks, our good friend, I think she wants you to switch over to Popeyes there, guys. Both of you.
I mean, they're okay, but I don't know about switching. Maybe
their service is terrible. Terrible service. They are always super slow, and they never have spicy chicken on time. You gotta wait. I don't know. We gotta find a new restaurant. Our beloved queen, Cherie, would always endorse churches, but I don't know if we can go there. Jason Bass talking about Bojangles. He says he thinks they should sponsor Slime Time.
I agree. I second that. I think they should.
North Carolina institution. There's nothing more North Carolina than Charlotte Football Insiders Football Focus Weekly.
Yeah, that's true, man. Now I think we're more Charlotte than ever, based on my Raleigh comments, which I kind of forgot we got kids from Raleigh coming to the camp. So it's nothing personal. I'm just saying.
Travel on the same roads you're complaining about, Pep.
That's right. And once again, shout out to Aiden Huntley, Kings of Charlotte. We might put that on a T-shirt with the CFI logo with a crown. Appreciate it, man. Mm-hmm. All right. On behalf of the engine, Kenneth McClamrock, and the producer, Brandon Black, I'm the pet man, Matt Morrow, saying good night. Make sure you come out to the HBCU Carolina Showcase. I'll be there. Kenneth won't be there. He's got stuff going on. Yeah. And producer, you coming?
I'll be there.
All right. So come see me and the producer. And we'll see you guys next time on the May Show, Football Focus Weekly Offseason edition. Good night, everybody.